Hello and welcome to this MGO2 controller tutorial. So what am I going to show you today? Well, today I'm going to show you how you can get different analog stick sensitivities depending on whether you're in normal view camera, over the shoulder view camera, first person camera. Show you what I mean in a different way. To get different analog stick sensitivities, whether you're in this normal view camera, over the shoulder view camera, or first person camera. What normally happens is that you have controller settings that have to mold into all three of them. But I have a way of getting controller settings depending on whether you're like in this camera, or this camera that are all different. So, how do we do this? Good question, folks. Before I get started though, this tutorial is only for Linux. I will not be helping anyone that wants this for Windows. But anyone's welcome to make a Windows tutorial. Obviously, it's not like it's my software or something, so just feel free. So let's get into it. So Steam, if we get back out of here, and what you want to do is you want to go to Steam settings, controller, and where it says desktop layout, you can see I've got nothing enabled there. You're just going to click edit. Now what you may see is that Steam, it looks like this. You just have to click enable, and then here you want to click on this. Now you can actually take my controller settings if you like. If you go in the search and search for this, but a lot of the time Steam's a bit funny and doesn't work out too well for whatever reason. I don't know. Regardless, I'm going to show you how to do this from scratch. So let's go to template, gamepad. I'm going to press square to apply layout, as you can see there. And yeah, first thing you want to do to test if this is working is go to RPCS free pads here. And select EvDev handler, select Xbox. I'm using a DualShock 4, it's worth mentioning, but it comes up as an Xbox here through Steam. And yeah, set everything how you like, and then just save that, and then you should find in game that everything works. Yay! Okay. So, next thing is edit layout, because at the moment, in fact, let me show you the layout when you view it. At the moment, you can see I've only got one layout, which is different to what I showed you at the start of the video. So if you edit layout, we're going to go to action sets. And we're going to add our action sets now. So we're going to add the normal view camera. Well, actually, we're going to rename default to normal view. We're going to add the over the shoulder view camera, and we're going to add first person camera. Let's do that. So over the shoulder. That would help if I could type sometime in the center. And when you copy layout, do it from the blank one, or if it says default. Confirm. Let's add the next one. It's important you copy these, otherwise it does not work as expected. And let's rename default, which you can't do till you've made the other action sets, which is why we do it the way we do it. And actually, just because of OCD, let's rename this one so it just says first person, like so. Okay. So now what you'll notice is we've got action sets. So if I press R1 over the shoulder, press R1, first person, you see how that's changing there? The problem is in game, it won't change. The only way we can make it change is if we make it so our button takes us to these things. So how do we get to over the shoulder camera view normally? Well, we press L1. So let's go to buttons, L1, cog, add extra command, action sets, change action set. And we're going to actually keep this one enabled for debugging purposes. And you can see it's already changed to over the shoulder view, which is what we actually want here when we press L1. So great. Now the one problem you have is, okay, you go to over the shoulder view, but there's no way back. You know, it's like Back to the Future, you're lost. So you want to add an extra command to L1 again when you're in the, remember, over the shoulder. Okay. Add extra command, change action set. You can see it's going to take me back to L1, I mean normal view, which is what we want. I'm going to confirm that. And then I'm going to have this as a release press. So I click the cog here, and then release press, because you let go of L1 to go back to normal view, right? So we're now going to test if that works, okay? So let's test if that works, okay? L1, over the shoulder camera, let go, normal view camera. And it's worth mentioning the notifications are very delayed, but the actual in-game, it's instant. I can tell you that now. So, now that we've established that, let's make our first person camera, right? How do we do that? Okay, Fair question. So how do we get to first person? Well, in over the shoulder, we normally press triangle. So that's add an extra command to triangle. That takes us to first person, like so. Now, when we press that, we're going to be stuck in first person, like, the other example. How do we get out of first person? Well, we can press triangle. That'll take us to over the shoulder when we press triangle. How else do we get out of it? Well, we can release L1. So yes, add extra command. That'll take us to a normal view when we release L1, of course. We want to make it a release, as we said. Okay, we're pretty much set up now to test if that's all working. Sometimes I recommend backing out of this completely. It can sometimes stop some buggy behavior as well, because sometimes you've done things right, but when you edit these settings, it can be a bit funny as you're editing them and then setting them in game, but once you close it, it's fine. Anywho, L1, we should say over the shoulder. Triangle should say first person. When I let go, it should say normal view, which it does. Press L1, it should say over the shoulder. Press triangle, should say first person. Press triangle, should say over the shoulder. Okay, we didn't get to see that, so we have to do it again because the notification's a bit broken sometimes. Let's wait for it to catch up. So over the shoulder. Yay, it worked. So now you can see it works like a charm. So I'm going to disable those things now that we can see it's working now. I don't necessarily recommend you do that right away, but for the purpose of this video and to not annoy me to death, that's what we're going to do. So how do we do that? Good point, good point, good point. So wherever you've set these change action sets, you can go into settings, I think. No, it's not settings, you fool. Let's see again. Oopsie, I fucked that. Okay, let's try it again. Maybe you'll have to re-click it on it. It's fine either way, you just do that. And is that for setting over the shoulder? Yes, and we want to remove that one, I suppose. Okay, so in normal view, and that'll take, yep, that makes sense. Okay. And then for the others, this is going to annoy me a little bit, this, because obviously I did want to show a way of doing it without having to do that, really. But I'm pretty sure, there is a way. Aha, okay. So all you have to do then is you click on where you set your action set. You just click X until you're back on this screen again and confirm. So that is dead straightforward. Although that says normal view, that actually needs to say first person. So yeah, you do have to go through everything all over again when you do that. It's a bit of a pain, but it's fine. Okay, well I learned something mid-video. Sure, whatever. Let's change that back to over the shoulder, I guess. Let me think about this. Yes, I do. Over the shoulder. And this to normal view. There we go. And at least it remembers if it's a release press or not. Okay, so that's good. So now we shouldn't get the notifications anymore. See? No notifications. Great. Now, what we'll do, I'm going to show you the main purpose of this video now. So if I go to edit layout, I go to joysticks, and let's say we're in normal view. Let's say we're going to do something really stupid and we want to take this horizontal scale all the way down, which is nothing. I never do this, but it's just for example's sake. And I'm going to do the same with vertical as well. Now, as you can see, I'm doing the right stick here. So what I'm going to show you is if I close out Steam, because this is when it can bug as well as when you go into pads and Steam at the same time. But watch my right stick. Now it's not moving. If I press L1, moving. If I let go, see, me just pressing L1 is switching it from there to there. You know, that's not, so this is normal view. This is over the shoulder. So that's how you test if it works. Now I'm just going to quickly guide you through those settings. I advise you tailor them to your own play style, basically. So if I go edit layout now, I'll show you a few things. So as you can see, this one impacts the vertical scale out of 100%. So if you want it vertically slower, you take it below 100%. Stick response curve. Aggressive means that when you move your analog stick slightly, it would move more. Where if you've got relaxed, if you move your analog stick slightly, then it will move less than it would normally move. Custom curve allows you to actually customize this, so you can make it so that if it's lower than 200, I'm guessing 200 is normally linear or something like that. If you make it lower than 200, it's basically a less aggressive curve. If you make it above 200, it's more aggressive. So the analog stick will react quicker, maybe, but maybe too not responsive, but too sensitive is the best word. And you've got other things like dead zones if you don't want to use the emulator. I'm using an old emulator where anti-dead zone works, but in the latest emulator, anti-dead zone isn't actually working, so you get options here to like customize that. And that's it really. So there you go. That is how you can customize your normal view camera speeds, your over-the-shoulder view camera speeds, your first-person camera speeds. Have different settings for all of them. So obviously here I could go into over the shoulder, and then I could start editing these settings as well, and then have something separate for first person. So there you go. I hope that helps someone. Probably only Linux users, because Windows users might struggle for a bit to figure it out, but hopefully they do, and they can enjoy this too now that I've kind of spread the news about it. So see you around, folks.